Welcome back, guys. So we raw processed this image in Capture One to our taste, and it's now time to export to Photoshop and continue with retouching. You won't want to miss the next episode, so just go ahead, click on subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified of subsequent uploads. There are several ways of exporting this image to Photoshop to continue working on. Now, if you right click on the image, see there is export, there is edit with, there is open with. All these three methods are ways of getting this image to Photoshop. So the first one, what it does is, now if you have lots of images to work in Photoshop, if you use this, see, you can either export the original or the variant. The original means the ones that haven't been raw processed, and the variant, of course, means what we have raw processed. Now, why would you want to export the originals to Photoshop and work on after raw processing here? That doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so for Photoshop, we won't use original, we'll use the variant. Now, if you click on it, this is what comes. So you have options, lots of options. Say you want to create a new folder, a subfolder, and a whole lot of it. I use this when I'm working on a group of pictures. This is what I use for that. Now let's cancel this. But if I'm working on, let's say, just one picture or two, this is the other way I go. I just go to edit with, then Photoshop, and see the options here are fewer. As you can realize, there are fewer options here. Now over here we just have basic, adjustments, metadata. You wouldn't necessarily need to work with metadata and adjustments. What you need to work with is basically here. These are how do I put it? These are preferential. I leave the resolution to how it is. The scale, I don't scale anything. I just export everything how it is here straight to Photoshop, because I'll later come back to Capture One and then do my cropping and all that. I use the TIFF format. Others will use PSD, others will use JPEG, but I use TIFF because it's a cross-platform, so that should I decide to use any other app for working on that file, I'll be able to work on it from TIFF. PSD is restricted to Photoshop, so you should know that you can only use Photoshop to open those files. But if it's TIFF, other apps can also use TIFF to work, and it's uncompressed. Now with the bits here, 16 or 8-bit, it's a whole subject on its own, so I won't touch up on that here. So I'll just leave it at 8-bit, and then we go to edit variant, and that should open in Photoshop shortly. And voila, here we are in Photoshop. So once we are here, we can work on the image as we want. Let's say we create a new empty layer, then we use a healing brush, zoom in, take out some blemishes and all that, make some changes to the image as we will do with our retouching in Photoshop. And then once we save, it sends the changes straight to Capture One. I'll show you in a moment how that's done. So once everything we do here, once we save, it goes back to Capture One automatically. It creates another instance of that file, a TIFF version. So we'll have the standard raw version and then the TIFF version. So all the changes we make here, once we save, they get sent there. Now let's get wild, just so you guys can see the difference. Let's use the brush tool, which is black, and then let's draw something here also, and then save it. Now let's go to Capture One. You see right here, this is the image we are working with, and then this is the TIFF version. You can see TIFF right under here. So these are the changes we made over here. See how automatically it gets carried on here. So let's have this. This is before and this is after what we are working in Photoshop. So simply put, once you save what you're doing in Photoshop, the changes get transferred to the TIFF file in Capture One. Simple, huh? Alright, so that brings us to the end of this particular lesson. I hope this has been informative for you, and I would like to thank you for watching.